even though it was really about a tale of two lovers who had been through some heartache, I found those lyrics, I kept my faith. When the river was deep, I didn't falter. When the mountain was high, I still believed. When the valley was low, it didn't stop me. I knew you were waiting for me. I kept my faith. So can we keep our faith even when it seems dark? That's what I really got out of that song. Because even when we're confused or upset, can we remember the light? Can we remember that there is wholeness? I give myself permission to reveal my wholeness. I talked about wholeness a couple weeks ago. That wholeness about us includes everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, the messy, the beautiful, the wonderful. All of it is part of our wholeness. So this month is, the theme for the Centers for Spiritual Living is Light Within the Shadows. And the Science of Mind magazine, which are on sale in the back, talks a lot about that. And one of the articles, I want to share just a few things from Reverend Michelle Coleman. She says, light and dark exist together and cradle each other, each with their own characteristics. They may seem to operate independently, but actually they are a pair that work in unison as complements along the spectrum. Most of us have been socialized to believe that light is good and darkness is bad, and given its unknowns and mysteries. So we create a villain out of the darkness and objectify the light, which is how spiritual bypass can occur. Have you ever heard of spiritual bypass? Well, that's when we pray away what we perceive as bad or dark to hurry up and get to the good part, the light. We often bypass processing what is considered bad in the shadow sphere, which is where buried treasures can actually be discovered. The truth, however, is that light and dark work powerfully in synergy with each other. So think about that. So she says, in these times, societal healing requires us to examine those places within us where unconscious biases and judgments reside. We all have them. Unconscious biases and judgments. We have the opportunity, though, she says, to befriend the shadows and to unpack hidden and subconscious beliefs and hold ourselves accountable to create positive change. To hold ourselves accountable to create positive change. Because really, isn't life amazing? What can seem like a duality is actually an activity of unity. Think about it. Without silence, there's no sound. Without up, there's no down. We can't fully appreciate the dawn, the sun rising, without witnessing that it's easing itself out of the dark night. Right? And think of how seeds that are planted in the soil, they need the darkness of the soil to bring new life. So it is the yin-yang theory of Chinese philosophy. There it is. And in yin-yang theory, it's considered opposite forces are interconnected and counterbalanced. It represents the actual process of the universe and all that is in it. And it's reflected by this symbol, which you've probably seen before. And notice that in the light, there's a bit of dark. And in the dark, there's a bit of light. So you can't have one without the other. They complement each other. So in this philosophy, yin is considered a symbol of earth, the feminine aspect, darkness, and passivity. And the yang is considered a symbol of heaven, more masculine energy, light, and more activity. So it's an ancient symbol of harmony and balance, and it challenges the conventional association we have that light is good and dark is bad. So the two energies in this case form the wholeness of what's called qi, your qi. You probably heard of that. So when we have our qi it's mixing those two energies, and that's what makes life possible. So I ask you, can we acknowledge the shadow, and remember that there's light within that shadow, that it's all part of our wholeness? Take a breath with that. I give myself permission to reveal my wholeness. I invite you to say that with me. I give myself permission to reveal my wholeness. Have you ever experienced a dark night of the soul? Or as if you're walking through the valley of the shadow? Yeah, we all have. And yet the good news is we don't have to pitch a tent there, right? Rather, we can choose to use the experience as a reminder that there's light ahead. You've heard the phrase, there's light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know about you, but I have kept some past experiences in my life secret. And when we do that, when we keep something secret, it can create a shadow of shame. Someone's phone is making like a,
that's mine.
Oh, that's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
No problem. I didn't know if God was calling. So this shadow of shame can keep us like feeling like we're in the dark or that we're hiding. And it can be an event, a decision we made, an experience, something that's hidden. And usually it's on purpose, we hide it. But sometimes it's not. And that can make us feel separate from our source. Holding tight to that secret shadow can block our creativity, our ability to make empowered choices, and even affect our health. And we know that when we harden ourselves around anything, it affects our health. So as spiritual seekers, which is why you're here, I would assume, we understand that darkness is merely the absence of light. And what if all those secrets are calling us to open to the light of spirit? Just like the song sang, when the valley was low, I knew you were waiting. I kept my faith. Faith. Faith in the greater good. I love what Ernest Holmes says, our founder. When the greater comes in, the lesser leaves because there is no longer anything to give life to it. That's like Metaphysics 101, right? And isn't that exactly what we do when we create a new thought? We're creating a new neural pathway. And that's what science is talking about, and they've been talking about right now for a while. That if we keep going down the same road of this isn't working and noticing that only, we have that neural pathway. But once we start to have a new thought, a greater idea, we create a new pathway, and then all of a sudden that's our default, and we just don't seem to go over into that worry, blame, shame part of us because we're over on another pathway in our brain, literally. Ernest Holmes also said, negatives cannot exist where positives fill the space. It's impossible. It's like what Abraham Hicks says, you can't be grateful and grumpy at the same time. It's impossible. They're two different energies. So Ernest says, when the sunshine of love and confidence fills your whole being, the darkness of the negatives will disappear. But we all have that, and one of my other favorite teachers is Mark Nepo, who's a great poetic writer. And he has a very cute little story, short story about outweighing clouds that I want to share with you. He says, some days I wake with a cloud around my heart, and it dulls everything. Yet just because I can't make it to the light today doesn't mean that the light has vanished. In truth, the heart, like the earth, is continually blanketed by ever-changing atmospheres that come and go between who we are and how we live our days. So faith, it seems, can be defined as the effort to believe in light even when we're covered by clouds. And though it feels like the sun will never come again, the truth is it has never stopped burning its light. In fact, its heat and warmth is burning steadily right now on the far side of whatever cloud we are under. Yeah, but no clouds last forever. The earth and all that grows from it knows this well. So does the heart and everything that grows from it, in spite of all our very understandable pains and sufferings. The clouds. So I invite you to just take a moment and turn within again. Take a deep cleansing breath. And use your imagination for a moment. And imagine you're sitting outside and there are these beautiful clouds in the sky. Big clouds. And just watch them as they come and they go. Breathe slowly and evenly and feel the sky open and close with the clouds. And notice how the trees and the flowers, they don't collapse and give up when the clouds come in. Let us draw strength from this. This too shall pass. Whatever may be clouding your awareness, knowing that it moves on, that there is light on the other side of the cloud. And you can open your eyes. I find that very comforting. It's a good reminder, isn't it? I give myself permission to reveal my wholeness. Say that with me. I give myself permission to reveal my wholeness. So Ernest Holmes says, each of us should seek that beam of light within and follow it to the great light, the light that is in everything. We must acquiesce to it and surrender all that has made us unhappy, all that has isolated us from it. Only then can the divine fully pronounce itself through us and in us and personalize itself as us. So healing and revealing our shadow secrets requires three things: knowing the story, releasing the emotion, and taking inspired action. Which reminds me about gold nuggets. So when you find something in here today, you want to jot it down and share it at the end if you like. Something you can take home. So I do these processes a lot with my private coaching clients and counseling to great success. So the first one is, what's the story? Remember, we all have stories, history, but we don't want to pitch a tent and live there. And this is where journaling comes in so perfectly. Journaling is actually a spiritual practice. So you start writing about the experience, the decision, something that you feel is not working for your life. You just write. No editing, no scripting. Write. And then share it with a trusted friend, a practitioner, or a life coach. And see what emotional energy is around that story now. And you might discover that there are beliefs you're holding about yourself that might be ready to be healed and transformed. The second is to release the emotion around the story. And reminder, there's no bad emotions, there's only unexpressed ones. It is said that emotions hear this, last at most 90 seconds. That's what research shows. Most emotions or sensations move through our body in this time or less if we match our expression with our experience. So think about it. If we repress or recycle an emotion, it can harden into a mood. And sometimes moods can last for years. You ever been in a mood? So feeling a feeling all the way through means letting that feeling have its full cycle, 90 seconds or less. So first you feel the feeling. You acknowledge, I'm feeling angry. So you name it, I'm feeling angry. Not I am angry, I'm feeling it. It's a sensation, right? And then locate it. Where in your body do you feel it? I feel it in my shoulders and my neck. Oh, what does it feel like? Describe it. Oh, well, it's tight. It's hot. Acknowledge the sensation. Breathe it. Just allow it to be there. 90 seconds or less, I'm telling you. Then you match it with a sound and movement. What does that anger sound like? What kind of movement would it do? Let's just do that. I want to do that.
Shake it off.
Shake it off. Yeah, I mean, that's all you've got to do. And then you ask the emotion, what are you here to show me? What's this anger really about? And then you just sit with that after you've done your movement. Remember in the old days, you used to put a pillow up and you'd scream into a pillow, that therapy? It works. I often go out in my car and yell. So I don't do it at home. If I have to, let it out. Let it out. Shake it off and play ball. That's what one of my teachers used to say. So that will then create emotional freedom for you. And then say a prayer of gratitude. Thank you for that emotion, that feeling, that sensation. Thank you for teaching me something and moving on. Just transform it. Again, we're not repressing it. That's spiritual bypass. Oh, I'm spiritual. I'm not supposed to be angry. Oh, I'm spiritual. I'm not supposed to say F you to that driver. Oh, all of that. Feel it and then let it go. Shake it off. The third thing is to take inspired action. So you can ask yourself in a meditative way, what's my next step? What new behavior do I want to adopt now? What feels like something different than that anger? And I may not be able to jump up to love, but take a baby step. What's a baby step? What's a baby action step I could take? I could write a thank you note. I could write a note of forgiveness. I could, whatever little action that will start to set you free. So using these 3 steps, acknowledging the story, releasing the emotion, taking an action, can help heal any shame secrets so that you can shine. And then holding all those experiences in our life in that wholeness and light. So in the science of mind, we often say to keep your focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. Right? You know that. That's kind of what we all, everybody's nodding their head. But sometimes we just stay stuck in the past story. It happens. Yet if we are willing to face any trauma, any upset with support, it can be transformed. It can be, I guarantee that. And this, my friends, will be freedom for you. It will be emotional freedom. The freedom to choose and live the truest essence of yourself, no matter what you've been through. To shine your light, to be in that yin-yang balance. That beautiful balance. The great Howard Thurman said, in the stillness of the quiet, if we listen, we can hear the whisper of the heart, giving strength to weakness, courage to fear, and hope to despair. So are you willing to open this week to see the light in the shadow that you might be having? To be open and available to what is there for you to learn? I give myself permission to reveal my wholeness. Let's say that one more time.
I give myself permission to reveal my wholeness.
Let's take that into prayer. As we just take a moment to recognize that powerful presence of the One, the omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresence of the God of your understanding. We just call that forth. We call that energy, that vibration forth, right into our heart, right into our consciousness. Knowing that we are interconnected. We are a beautiful aspect of this One, that each of us is an instrument in this divine symphony of life. And so I am knowing and claiming this morning that there is a powerful healing going on in the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, the spiritual body. That we are each willing to receive a gift, an opening in our consciousness to the greater good as we are willing to let go of the lesser. Anything that is not serving us anymore, bless it and move it on. So I'm knowing for each of us this week that we step into a new expression of who we are, and that everything necessary to your full expression is already happening on the unseen side of life. How good it is to know this truth. So I'm knowing and claiming for each that we are blessed and we are moving into a new experience of life. How good it is to know this truth. That there is peace. A peace that passeth understanding. That there is prosperity. There is clarity. There is direction. There is order and harmony and so much more. And it is ours by just opening, receiving, asking, and letting it be. And so we shine our light this week and every week, every morning, every day, every time. We shine our light. We return to center. And when we do, I know something wonderful happens for each of us. And so we just let it be so. And with joy in my heart, I release my word into the infinite loving law that is always working. And knowing that it is done, we relax and we just let it be so. And I invite you to affirm with me. And so
it is.